We want to talk about credit and debt. I don't want to ask why people fear debt, because it is the same question why people fear chameleons. You see, there would be no sense of fearing a debt. Any fear that you have is a result of something you don't know. Simu yangu imepimwa. Imepimwa aje? He told me it is a credit phone with M something. It is, he has borrowed a phone, but why not? The middle class guys who feel that they are out, they are keeping a standard, they're the worst hit. That's why you should fear when you see a billboard saying, a car in 2 minutes. It's important to know when we are dealing with credit and debt. We want to talk about credit and debt. We want to talk about credit and debt. We want to have a small discussion on credit and debt. I want to look at it, and that's why I'm calling it a discussion. I want to discuss it in diverse ways, and I hope everybody at your level, you pick it at your level. Because when we talk about such a topic, it has levels, and you have to pick your portion at the level you are in. However, I realize that there is some connotation, particularly on people on the lower economic levels, where debt, where credit, the word credit here, when I deal with the word credit, I'm referring to money borrowed for use. Then I deal the word credit, and there's the definition of what I'm going to deal with. That's what I'm going to deal with for now, money borrowed for use. And when I talk about debt, is now when you have borrowed the credit, it becomes something you have to pay. Debt is what you take and you have to pay it back. You'll ask me what is the difference. Think about it. So I'm saying there is a connotation to quite a number of people at in some levels, economic levels, where debt and credit has been taken negatively. And we seem to exaggerate the dangers of it, other than sometimes also looking at the advantages. So we sometimes find people talking about it in fear. People talk about debt or credit in fear. So you find people may not take advantage of something that could be positive because there is the way it has been put in their minds. And you see, like we will know, like you all know now, what your mind, the biases of your mind are the worst thing you can have in life. Your mind has to be clear, and your mind must be really clear on what, when you are dealing with something, if your mind is not clear on it, the mind does not allow you to think right. If you are biased and if you are skewed in a particular way. So it is very important in life to always try to balance up things and to study, to show yourself approved, a workman who did not be ashamed. I repeat, and to study, you must study to be approved even in whatever you do in this life. You must study to get the facts right. You must study to get the information right. You have to be approved even to be well able to do what you ought to do. It is important. It is important. It is important to know. You must be somebody who is, whatever you hear is not necessarily right. May I report that a lot of things you hear are not right. Many of them are biases of other people. You know that even from school. What your teacher taught you at some level, you realize it changed at some other level. What you also know when you're at a particular age, you realize when you get to a particular age, you ask yourself, where did this come from? You realize it is not true. With the coming in of internet and all that, and with a lot of things out there, a lot of knowledge exposed out there, you may find somebody coming out and really telling you things, and they may take a chord in you and you feel like they are right depending on your mental inclination to some things. It is always very important in this life to take everything with caution and be able to stand and to look for the truth and what works. Note those two words, they are not the same. To look for the truth and what works. Because you may take something to be the truth, but really, you take it to be the truth by your understanding. But there is what works. What works is what is important at the moment you are working. I repeat, what works is what working. Not those slogans that make a lot of sense. You realize there's a lot of quotes and slogans that make a lot of sense. They are not necessarily sensible. They are just beating a chord in somebody. You realize that if you start here to ask anybody here, which songs do you like singing? You'll be surprised. They will all be different. And you ask why? Because everybody has got a place in their body that gets, it agrees or feels like that's working for me. That's why you find some people like lamentation songs. Some other people like complaining. Some other people like praising. Other people like worshiping. Some other people will like songs that will make them cry, mourning, dirges. It is therefore important in this life. In fact, as you grow up in life, you ask yourself what's wrong with the earth. Because I sit back sometimes and ask myself how I grew up and where I grew up. Because I look at some things that made me, that now I'm trying to unlearn, not trying, that I'm seriously unlearning. There are a lot of things I'm unlearning, even close to the 60th floor of this life. There are things I'm learning, and there are things I am unlearning. And sometimes, and this walk demands learning and unlearning. That's why you must study and learn. Don't be lazy in asking questions. Don't be lazy in finding out how it works from those it has worked for. Because, if it works with me, the possibility of working with you, it's very high. Whichever way even if you don't believe it, and you just follow the way I'm doing it, the truth is that if you get a pattern, and that pattern you have noted somebody has followed it, and it is reaching some level, it is taking this person some level, the possibility of the same pattern taking you to some level is very high. Even when you don't have the knowledge that person has. That is why it is important to study. That's why it's important to learn. That's why it's important to ask questions. It is important. And that's why it is very wrong to ever think you know. The worst fool on earth is the man who knows. That is, he believes he knows. Never in life. Look, there's also a lot of changing. There's the dynamics that change every day. Every day. The weather is changing. The technology is changing. The way people think is changing. The way people do things is changing. You can never know. You can never therefore stand. Even if you are the professor of professors, you can never stand and tell us you know. During those our years when we got into church, some of us, there was only one version of the Bible, the King James version. Now you go in, you open up a whole line of them, and there's a lot of other. It's changing. So please hear me. It's important to know that you don't know. Even when we teach some things to you, we expect you not to be critical of it with what you know, but to be analytical with it and to try to dissect it and find out what works and what can work for you. When you receive it, dissect it. Ask yourself questions. Don't just accept it as is. because it was said by so and so. Not necessarily. Don't be that person who can't learn. So look for what works, because that's what is important. So I said it's a discussion, so come on, let's go the way it goes. Now, you see what I said, I've said this, I've just said a short while ago that what I'm dealing with here is something that there is quite a demand on it, and therefore I want to say a few things that are important. I don't want to ask why people fear debt, because it is the same question why people fear chameleons. Because there's no sense. You see, there would be no sense of feeling a debt unless you don't. The reason you feel it is lack of understanding and lack of knowledge in it. Any fear that you have is a result of something you don't know. Any fear is a result of anything you don't know. Any fear in life. Immediately you know, the fear starts now being not just fear. It becomes something you move towards because you know. That's why when you want to swim, you fear water. But finally, when you get into water, even if you're not swimming and the water is up to your neck, something starts telling you it is all right. If you go underwater studying and you can be covered by water and come up, something still tells you it's all right. Then you start swimming and you swallow a few mouthfuls of chlorinated water, but still you say it's all right. Finally you realize your body can float. Then you realize you can move. Then your whole being starts to learn that when you stretch your hand, you pull the water, you stretch the other hand, you pull the water. When you move your legs a little, you're moving forward. So your mind, your body starts learning. And finally, you are on the other side of the swimming pool. Next moment, you don't even ask anybody a question. You come on the deep end and you dive right to the bottom, come up and enjoy. Why? Because the fear was irrelevant. And it didn't mean anything. It was an imagination. So, may I start by saying this? The reason we must know is to be free. Knowledge brings freedom. And freedom is a process. It's not a one-day thing. Knowledge brings freedom. When you know something, you get free, And somehow, it continues. With that knowledge now living within you, it enables you to live a free life. And you are able, and a free man, may I say this, a free man thinks right, feels right, does right. A free man thinks right, does right. And the other one, I said what right? I said 3 things. What does a free man do? 1. Yes? Thinks right. 2. Does right. 3. Feels right. Because feelings are important. Your emotions are how you are. So when you are free, your mind is able to maximize. You are able to maximize your ability to think. You don't argue with yourself. You don't have to strive trying to ask what ifs that comes in life. You're able to think right, you think correctly. And because of that, you feel right, You feel okay. And when you feel right, let me tell you, the biggest basis of faith is a feeling. When you feel right, you're able to believe right. And you're able to believe easily. You are able to trust easily. You are able to act easily. Shake it up when you feel free. It's very easy for you to trust. It's very easy for you to believe, particularly when you know it. So a free man is the one that it is important. We should all strive to be free. And the only way to be free more than any other thing is when we know, when we learn, when we understand, when we refuse to be pulled down by biases of this life. So, because today I'm even speaking to some of our international students who are listening online and have asked an important question. And the question is it right? Is it worthy? Should anybody take credit or have a debt? That's very interesting. And, you see, many times we all want to be debt-free, and we feel that being debt-free is something good, and surely it is. Whoa, you have no debt. Even ask the government of Kenya. My goodness, ask the government of Kenya. Even you seated there, if you're like Kenyan right now, you would know to be debt-free is like being near the steps of heaven, because you are able to live big life easy way. But when you have a lot of debts, it becomes the other way you strive. But may I say there is a very important thing. If you look at, when I looked at the essence of credit, particularly credit given out, because that's what we are discussing, and I noted that debt and credit came from a simple thing. In fact, it is where the word capitalism came from. What we now call capitalism, and as an ideology in economics of the world, what you call capitalism. When people hear capitalism, because of the criticisms and all that, what President Nyerere, those of you knew him, used to call a dog-eat-dog society. When you hear it's a dog eating a dog, and we're calling men dogs and eating other men, and that's what they call capitalism, and they talk about things about it. In fact, if you look at that word, it starts with the word capital. Capital simply means money. Capital means means to acquire. So what really, when you talk about debt or credit, you are talking about the capital you need to do something. And you see, in most cases, in most cases, to have enough to do what you want is not easy. In fact, what changed, I saw a very interesting explanation of a book written in 1776 by a guy called Adam Smith. He talks about the wealth of the nations. That is 1776. Where are you? Now, this guy, I think is the first ever, it was the first ever thing written on the economies of the world. And he talks about, in chapter 8 of the book, he talks about how to become wealthy. And I want to explain to you a little bit. He talks about how a baker, in fact, it's a baker. He talks about how a baker who has been employed in a bakery, she knows so well, she has become a professional in baking. But she wants to start a bakery of her own. So now she doesn't know what to do. So what does she do? She goes to a bank and borrows 1 million shillings. Let me use that. She borrows 1 million shillings from a bank. She takes the 1 million shillings and employs a contractor. A contractor goes into her place to build a bakery and buy all the bakery ware that she requires. So the contractor starts the work. Remember, she borrowed how much from the bank? 1 million. So how much has she given the contractor? 1 million, correct? So she contractors 1 million. Then in the middle, or as the construction goes, like it is common with the constructors, God help us, the contractor meets and tells her, now, it's not possible to do this job at this amount. Look, the economy has changed. Mafuta imepanda. So now there's a good excuse that vitu imeenda juu. So please, we need another 1 million to make this job work. Now, what had happened when she gave the 1 million to the contractor took 1 million and took it to the bank. Remember, the bank had given out how much? Now, the contractor took 1 million and took it to the bank. So the bank have got how much? Hey, get it clear. The bank, you know the bank has money. The bank has not, you have borrowed from the bank. So what the bank has as 1 million, and then the contractor took the 1 million to the bank. So the bank has got how much? 2 million. Now, the baker has how much? Nothing, except some work going on. You know, and so the bank always have a multiple. In fact, it has a compounding thing. You find the money you go to the bank is not that the bank has put it in its safes. That the money is there, that any money you want. In fact, if tomorrow the people in Anyuki alone decided to go to the banks to pick all their monies, all the banks will close. The banks don't have money. They have your money. Because the money you left in the bank is the money the baker was given to construct a bakery. And the money the contractor got from the baker is the money the baker is given again. So she has a debt of 2 million that was money, that was in fact money she had been given. But you see now, the essence, not that the bank is wrong. No, man, may the Lord make me a banker. No, that's a good business. That's a good business. Now, that money taken has interest. There is an amount of money that is interest. Now, how does credit work? This is the whole thing about the story I'm telling is this point. And this is where I want you to come with me. Where now I want you to come with me is here. Now, how should credit work, and how really was it at work? In fact, the guy who wrote the same book, The Wealth of Nations, explains it very well. He says a very simple thing. What is supposed to happen is that the wealthy person who borrows money makes profit. And by making profit, he employs more people. And by employing more people, the more people get money. And what do? They invest more money to do something else. And when they put the money into whatever they want to do, whatever they do brings profit. And what does the profit do? The profit makes another person get money. So there is a multiplier in that profit is supposed to pay debt or to pay interest and to pay debt. When you do any business, when you borrow any money, the why you should borrow it is to be able to pay interest and to employ and to enable another person. If what you borrow does not pay back and enable another person, the credit or the debt does not work. Because by the time you enable another person, it simply means you are making profit. So never take a debt that will not give you profit to repay and to have some remaining. Debts are only supposed to be taken. Credit is only supposed to be taken when it has the ability, to pay back the interest and to leave you with profit. That's why you can't take credit or debt to make your hair or to buy the clothes you wear. You can't. The rule of the game is simple. You can't borrow to eat. If you are borrowing to eat, you are in fact a person who is starving. Because what you borrow to eat, you will eat it. It is not multiplying. It is not increasing. It will get depleted. So what happens when it gets finished? The person you borrowed from will come for your shoes and for everything you have, because you have not paid them back. And by the time they come, you'll be too hungry to know how to handle it. So you never borrow to eat. You never get credit advanced to you. Even what you call salary advance, don't mistake it. Even a salary advance is a debt. Ati nilile nalipwa katikati ya mwezi. Please, it's a debt unless your month ends on 15th. And even that one, you have to take care of it. So when you decide to borrow, you must be wise enough to make sure that what you borrow will bring out profit that will be able to make you enable another person. This is how to measure it. Always the only way to measure whether you are doing it right is to check, is it enabling another person? For example, if I borrow to build some rental houses, and I built them, and Otieno comes and takes a room in my houses. One, I have enabled Otieno to be able to get shelter, security, and warmth. And because I've enabled Otieno to get shelter, security, and warmth, Otieno gives me something, pays me back for the service. And when I take it back, I am able to pay the banker and to have something remaining for my consumption, because it is also not supposed to get finished. And also maybe for more improvement. So first of all today, it is important for us who are listening and those in different places to check, are we having the right kind of debt? Are we having the right kind of credit? And is there a way we should restructure our credit or our debts to enable us, to enable another and to remain? Because you see, you are able to pay back, because one other principle of credit or debt, ladies and gentlemen, you must, the one is M-U-S-T, capital letters. M-U-S-T, capital letters. Somebody say capital letters. M-U-S-T, capital letters. Pay in time. Never pay late. Pay in time. That is why it is wrong for you to train your brain to take little monies from people. Please hear me well. Please hear me well. If you borrow 1,000 from me, 10,000 too, you borrow it from me, you have borrowed. I've advanced your credit. And if you're supposed to pay it back, please pay it back tomorrow. If you can't, you are training your brain to be careless, and you are training yourself not to grow. Because you will find it easier to take people's money with no guilt, with no feeling that it should be paid back. You feel like you are comfortable. In fact, if you are a wicked person, you will start avoiding them. That's also another way to measure wickedness. You start avoiding them. Unaona mtu anakuja, una pretend ulikuwa unaongea na simu. Hata huongei na unaongea loudly. Yes, na sasa. That's one way of measuring wickedness. If you can avoid me because you owe me, you have a problem that is not even monetarily. Your problem is not money. No, the problem is with your heart. And it's good to confront it, because it's not affecting me. I may get angry with you, because really, you shouldn't take my labor and make it your own, and make it that you'll be eating my money and enjoying your beautiful hairstyle and your nice dresses and your good suit with my money, and you seem all right. You're not all right. In fact, if we undress, if we take all that you owe us, you may remain naked. That's the same thing we are talking about last time when the PEP class was teaching the PEP class. That is the same way when you take a dress from a place, you have been advanced credit. Don't make a mistake. There's no difference. When you take a dress from a shop to pay some time, you already have been advanced some credit. When you have something in a hurry and you rush to KCB, I'm sure, I don't like mentioning. Okay, KCB, it is okay, I'm advertising you should pay me. Now, you know, when you go and you quickly borrow from Mchwali, or go to borrow quickly because you see, nimejikuta sina. So you wanted something in the supermarket. So what do? You take your phone and quickly get some money thinking you are going to pay. Please, you are disabling yourself. You are making it difficult for you to grow because you are getting a credit advance that is affecting your planning and other things in your life. If you must, please also, you must pay it the next moment. You know, let me just give this example, though I had purpose not to give a lot of examples that I'm purposing not to. You know, yesterday 2 days ago, I met a young man who wanted a job. And so this young man comes to me and he tells me, Madilene, you see, this guy needs a job. In fact, the atmosphere in the room alone, the perfume he's wearing, makes you realize this guy needs a job. You need to open the window so that the perfume does not affect you. And when you talk to this guy, he's a very intelligent person. You discuss, you talk. In fact, I thought to be honest, I thought he has a mental challenge. But now when you talk to the guy, he's a good person. He talks, or he understands everything. He's good. But now I tried to find out because he didn't have a phone. So I asked him, since I want to get you, why don't you have a phone? He said, simu yangu imepimwa. I didn't know simu sinapimangwa. I knew yesterday, and I'm serious. Honestly, I knew yesterday. So I asked him, no, the day before yesterday, I asked him, imepimwa aje? He told me it is a credit phone with M something. Don't mention all of them. I know the other part. Not that I'm missing it. Not that I'm missing it. Not that I'm missing it. It is, he has borrowed a phone, but why not? He had borrowed a phone from M Copper. And according to him, I asked him, why do you have the phone? In fact, he showed me the phone. He told me, wow, look, he removed it. He told me, you know, it's a good phone. Look. And honestly, it is better than mine. Truth be spoken. And then he tells me, I was being able to pay. Then I asked him, how are you being able to pay? He tells me, I was doing some job near our home, and because I am supposed to pay 125 shillings, at least I was making 125 shillings, and I was always paying 125 shillings. And my heart said, God, thank you for education. Listen, look, at it, you are happy, you are paying 125. So I got a pen. I calculated for him how much you'll have paid after he's giving me this, because in the meantime, I don't know what happened, wakamkopesha 4K. Yeah? Yes, the same. Wakamkopesha 4K. So he is paying 125. For the phone alone, he will have paid that 5,000 by the end of the, by the time he finishes paying. I calculated that you'll be paying 5,066 shillings every month. The guy was looking for a job of 8,000. He can't get a better job than that. That's what he's qualified for. But he's happy. He has never calculated what 125 is times that. So what does he do? He is a captive. He has gotten a debt. He has gotten credit. He never thought about what he's doing. You see, but now he is paying. What has worried me most is that we, in this country called Kenya today, I think I shouldn't be ashamed to say this. It's my country. I love it. I belong to it. Very many young people are in such trouble. They get easy phones easily. easy loans, easily. They don't calculate. You pay something daily if you're employed. In fact, the poor remains poor. The rich remains richer. Because the poor run around a vicious cycle of poverty, where you take a phone, you are paying 125, you are paying 126, no, 125 shillings every day. You have put some credit. You have bought data. You have added it on it. Your salary is 8,000. At the end of the month, what you have gotten, if the 566 is gone, and you had the 8,000, the 2,000 and something, 1,000 or some more than that will have gone on credit and data. Because the more foolish you are, the more you use carelessly, in that the more you'll be using data to laugh with those guys who laugh on phones, to see how they dance and how their bottoms look like. Because you don't understand. You think it's entertainment. But you don't understand. Any minute you watch it, one of your penny goes. You don't understand it. The moment you remove it and say, look at the way your money is getting out. You don't realize it. You feel okay and you feel all right. And so I looked at this guy. In fact, I told him, I can't employ you. He asked me why. I told him, because you are a fool. And the fools should not be employed. I know you are saying, you be a good brother. Please stop judging me. Stop judging me. Wacha mi wadu wazuri na wadada wazuri asanteni. I told him I can't. He told me, lakini you see, that is my problem, and therefore it's not good to fail to employ me because of my problem. I told him simple truth. You don't remove your head. Leave it at home. When you come, may I employ you. You come with the same folly and to do what you're doing. Then the question was, Lily, is it right? Of course, I told you he was a clever man. In fact, by the time we finished talking, the guy took his phone and told me, I'm going to them right now to return their phone. He went back, returned the phone. What was surprised me is what that meant in his economics, because I calculated. Because I told him, go to them, return the phone, come to me. But he himself already had been convinced. He told me, surely. After talking, he told me, surely I'm stupid. So we decided, go return the phone. So he went, returned the phone. When he returned the phone, he came back and asked him what has happened. He told me, wamekacurate kila kitu, I only owe them 2,000. I said, hallelujah. That's how to stop being an idiot and a fool. Go return it if you have it and you're hearing me. Go buy kababe. Use it. Use it. Use it. Stop living beyond your means. Because you see, what's going to happen is it denies you now reasonable credit for your growth. It also denies you any savings you can make. So you'll not be worth the credit. So as I discuss credit, you can't discuss credit without eliminating foolishness. And it is everywhere, not just with such a guy or phones. The other guys who are middle class earners. And what do? They want to keep us standard. So what do? They go buy a Mercedes Benz. And the most decent, well made, amazing looking, awesome to behold, fantastic, middle class, affluent suit, and a matching shoe, and a matching tie. And so he gets out of the home in the morning. All that he has completely is cleared debt. In fact, nothing is his. It's all borrowed. Then he gets into a car, sits in a car, feels like he is someone, when really he is nothing, so poor. He puts in the ignition to burn his tomorrow. Some of his tomorrow starts being ejaculated. I mean, yeah, from behind. And he drives and comes over and parks, and all his age mates admire him. And if there is another fool like him, he wants to also go looking for a Mercedes Benz. He also lives in a house. The cost is half his salary. And he has bought a television set that covers all his walls. Covers this wall up to there. But, listen, but, one moment he hears, ting, ting, Kenya Power needs some power. He needs to pay. He can't afford. He eats like the poorest you could imagine. He sleeps on the mattress I normally tell you, down the valley. Your lady went there. But he looks admirable. To get such out of that kind of a pit, you need to get something in your mind to deliver you. You need to think intelligently, and you need to know it is foolish. You need to understand it, and you don't need to pretend. You don't need to pretend. This is not, if you are a church person like me, this is not where you say, the Lord will provide. In fact, the Mercedes was not provided by the Lord. That I can tell you without having to ask him. Nor did he provide your suit. Yes, nor did he provide your suit. In fact, it was not provided by the devil either. He did not provide. Nor did the devil provide your suit. Your folly is your destruction. You are the answer at the freak of a thought. You are the answer by deciding no, like the young man did. Go down. Put the Mercedes on sale. Go back to live normal. Take a matatu to work if you have to. Organize your life. Live easy. Amen. It's easy. And that's how even young ladies who think affluent get lied to by fools. And because their spirits have a Fore aspect, they don't decode the fool. And they discover it very late. Those who, I know the girls who are listening to me are not like that. They don't think money. They don't think affluent. They don't think those classes. But that's how you can be cheated. That's even those people who are the ones who put you into deals that are not right. Because, they are so blessed, they will steal very easily. They may be good guys, good boys, good church people sometimes, but the demand has come and they see like it's a miracle. It's important to know when we are dealing with credit and debt, we also create them and create something that destroys us. In fact, it destroys our present, destroys our tomorrow, and destroys our children's tomorrow. Because you see, if now you are unable to pay, I know cases, the one I've mentioned, by the middle class is the worst. Because I've discovered out of research, it has been proven. In fact, go to any banker, they give you their data, you'll be surprised. The middle class guys who feel that they are keeping a standard, they're the worst hit. And mostly the banks end up taking up whatever they gave in as collateral. If the car was bought by the bank, that's why you should fear when you see a billboard saying, a car in 2 minutes. Just call. You should say, the devil is in the detail. You don't, because look, why would you? Why would you? It is good to drive, but drive. Don't drive a debt. And continue multiplying it by what it consumes. You have to buy tires, my friend. You have to buy fuel every day at 211 shillings. Praise the Lord for that. It's good that his prices increase. Please and never lament. When the increase is all right, we are here. Yeah. When they increase, you increase. You believe God for something better and start looking for how to tackle that. By lamentation does not change the price. It remains like that. Even if you go to the streets with Sufuria, oh come on. Even if you go to the streets, it doesn't change the price. So what do you do as a wise person? You think on, what will I do to save the 11 now. They put, like my fuel now, they increased my liter of fuel by 21 shillings. Just coming from my house to here, I have spent about 42 shillings. No, that can't be that. It can be 21 shillings. You have done the same, my brother. You are not calculated. But you came very nice in the car. The big question is, if you'll have a better tomorrow, what are you doing about the 21 shillings? Because the 21 shillings, when it is 20 liters, 10 liters goes to 210. When you go on like that, how much is it at the end of the month? How much has it eaten on your income? How much are you paying on your debt payments that you must pay in time? Because that one you must always remember. How much has it eaten on the way you live? So what do? You act quickly. When such increments come, please hear, those of you in the cars and who look at fuel at the port, we say the cost of living is going up. Think quickly. Don't be overcome. Don't be overtaken. Think quickly. Look for a way of handling it. Quickly. But don't say you take one meal. Take your 2 meals. And don't bathe without soap. Use soap. There's always a way out in anything when you put your mind into it. Always remember the great scriptures. There is no temptation that comes that is beyond you. And always, God will give away. I'm quoting it. God will give. I am paraphrasing it. God will give away out of it. Oh, you remember that great man called Pius Moiru, who used to tell you, atakupatia nini? Hapana, wacha nuru gizani. Njia ya? You always get a way out. Kuna njia kila wakati. Ukijikuta hata kwa shimo gani, there is a way out. It may not be, hata pale unafikiri there could be a tunnel, but you never saw it because you thought you are so much deep. You never looked at the details. So there is a way out. So you look for ways out. If you are earning a salary, for example, if you are a salaried person, may the Lord help you. I'm not saying on a negative term, because you must think, because you're not increase your salary. When you're doing business, there are many things you might think of doing that would improve you, even in your own simple place. Even when you are in, by the way, it's true, even when you are employed, there's some things you can do. So I'm talking about credit. So before, in fact, I realized that I can only do introduction. That is what I have. That's why I stopped going further. I realized that I was about 15 minutes to, and I have not even said what I needed to say. But look, so let me go on towards completing this. I'm only saying a simple thing. Know what to do.